Welcome to Wild World News. Good Lord. Good Lord. How much did Bill Cosby get sentenced to? How much time did Bill Cosby get sentenced to? 3 to 10 years. Oof. I see, with R. Kelly, I thought he was, because I haven't been following this, that, I saw a certain show that was talking about girls that he was keeping in his house, and, I guess they're supposed to be willingly doing it, and families trying to get, the wellness checks and all this other stuff was going on, but I haven't been following anything. I didn't know it was for sex trafficking. Let's check this out.
So we just got this in. Singer R. Kelly has now been sentenced to 30 years in prison for sex trafficking. Speaking of sex trafficking, after the court heard emotional statements from his victims. This is the second verdict of this type that we have started sentencing, I should say, this week, with Ghislaine Maxwell being the other one. Correspondent David Lee Miller with these breaking details. Hi, David Lee.
Hi, Martha. Indeed, you're right. This was a very emotional day in Brooklyn Federal Court. As you mentioned, R. Kelly now sentenced to 30 years behind bars for sexually abusing children and young women. Man. He faced a possible life sentence. 7 of his victims spoke before the court. One talked about what she called, and I'm quoting now, deplorable acts on both male and female victims. She said he used his fame and power for his own sexual gratification. Another victim wept as she described thoughts of suicide. She said, and I quote her again, "I only want R. Kelly put in prison so he cannot cause any harm to others." As the women spoke, Kelly avoided eye contact, either looking down or at his lawyer's computer screen. An attorney for Kelly, in a memo to the court, asked the judge to limit any sentence to no more than 10 years. The memo said Kelly was sexually abused as a child and blamed his molestation for, quote, some of his behaviors. Kelly's lawyer spoke briefly to reporters.
Well, we believe that the offenses for which he's been convicted do not justify a sentence greater than 10 years. We believe there's significant mitigation, and we believe that's the appropriate sentence.
In a 31-page sentencing memo to the judge, prosecutors sought more than 25 years in prison for Kelly. A portion of the memo says, quote, "Through his actions, the defendant exhibited a callous disregard for the very real effects that his crimes had on his victims and has shown no remorse for any of his conduct." In September, a federal jury in Brooklyn convicted Kelly of 9 criminal charges, including violation of the Mann Act for the coercion and transportation of women and girls to engage in illegal sexual activity. He was also convicted of bribery, racketeering, and forced labor. Kelly's lawyer says the case was overcharged and is optimistic about winning an appeal. Even if successful, Kelly's legal problems, they are not over. He faces federal child pornography charges in Chicago, as well as state charges in Illinois and Minnesota. But the headline today, Martha, R. Kelly sentenced in federal court in Brooklyn to 30 years behind bars. Martha.
David Lee, thank you very much. David Lee Miller with that breaking news.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page.
Wow. It's one of the wild things where, over the years, ever since I was young, we've heard stories. But I didn't know it went that far. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Holy shit. Wow. I didn't know it was that much stuff. I did not know it was that much stuff. I don't know, years ago, I had heard stuff like certain girls with, consent, were involved with him, or with parental consent were, but then I started hearing more and more stuff about just how he would come up to high schools and wait for the girls to, I'm just like, okay, now. Yeah, okay, age of consent is different. Parental consent is different. But now, you got just girls coming through. And I just, and then like I said, I saw the series where it was these different families talking about stuff. I was just like, my God. It is what it is, y'all. Man. That type of sentence, it's most likely that, of course, he's gonna die in prison. You know what I mean? That's some wild stuff. And it's like, whether he's convicted of extra stuff later, it's like, okay, well, he most likely ain't never getting out anyway, so, I don't know, man. I don't even know if they gave him a chance of parole, or I don't remember hearing none of that, but, well, I guess we got a conclusion to all this. There, I spoke about it. I wanted my opinion. I spoke about it. I like some of his music, but I never was like a huge fan. That was it, man. Cause I heard about people like really super defending him and stuff like that. Like a lot of fans become kind of blind and defend people for stuff, and I heard a lot of that was going on, and even Dave Chappelle made jokes about it on Chappelle's show, with the whole, like it was all this like super duper evidence, not something to where you could be like, well, maybe, this was done, or this was done, photoshopped or fakery or this and that. No, it was just like, this is this dude doing this, so. All right, y'all.